Back again with a little Austin Sports Weekend with Austin the Man here himself. It is college football time again. We're already through week 5 already.
Yeah, it's passing by too quick.
It's passing by way too quick. We're gonna talk about week 5. Just pass by. Look ahead to a little week 6. But before we get started, thanks again for SevereTV.com here for setting us up.
Thanks to our great producer in the back.
Hey, shoot out to him. Hey, and thanks again for Autographs Plus for sponsoring us. They got a couple stores, one in Sevierville, one in Pigeon Forge. Got a couple cool helmets here. It's with Joe Burrow and Tony Dorsett. But let's jump in to some college football. Last week, Tennessee did not play.
But we got some
But
wild games.
we had some really good wild games. So let's start off with our definite upset of the week.
Kentucky going on the road to edge a Ole Miss.
How about them apples? At Ole Miss.
Ole Miss's offense
Kentucky.
Struggled through the entire day. They couldn't get any offense going.
We were actually talking there. I smell something that doesn't smell real. It smells
I think
plastic.
is the term you're using fraud?
Oh, I smell something fake, like made in China. I don't think maybe Ole Miss was the real deal. I thought
They had a really easy schedule.
they had a really easy schedule. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Kentucky's defense seems to be pretty good this year. They
held Georgia to 13
they
points.
held Georgia to 13 points.
They held Ole Miss to 17 points when they were scoring 50
I don't know what
a game.
happened with the South Carolina game.
I guess that
That's
might
sort
have
of
gave them
aberration.
gave them a wake up call.
Could have, but Kentucky seems to have good defense. Their offense is struggling a little bit, but they seem to have a pretty good.
I think they're trying to find a game plan for them that works.
They play the sort of the ground, slow the game down, grinder type of game.
That kind of mimics their head coach Mark Stoops.
And they drug Ole Miss right down into the slow gutter with them. And
Yep.
17 points at home.
I'll give Kentucky this: they're trying to turn their season around.
Oh yeah, no, I mean. They started out a little wishy-washy, but, I mean, that's a marquee win. I mean, that's a bowl game win right there.
I think they guarantee. I'm going to say Kentucky makes a bowl at least this year.
I about guarantee you they make a bowl because that was really an impressive win. Kudos to
the Kentucky
there.
Wildcats. But
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin's got to get that thing turned around next week.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they will. I feel sorry for whoever they play this week. They're going to put up 50 or 60 points on them this week just because they can.
And they're frustrated.
They're a little bounce back.
But speaking of, well, this is not really impressive at all. Michigan edging Minnesota by a whopping 27-24.
No, and it was actually pretty close there. That was sort of a scary. Michigan had to sort of hold on
And
there.
Minnesota got the onside kick, and this is a controversial thing. They called it offsides, which, if you looked at the replay, Minnesota's guy's foot was here, and the line was right there.
Yeah, so it really.
And the Big Ten saw it as such a travesty that they're changing the onside kick rules.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good decision.
Yeah, so Minnesota actually had a chance. Honestly, they could have had a chance to win the game.
And Michigan's offense isn't exactly.
No, Michigan's offense is struggle a little bit.
They
beat USC, but they did have some turnovers and stuff to help them.
And they only
along in
had
that
32
game.
yards passing.
Yeah, so Michigan's offense is struggling a little bit. Hey, but a W is a W. At the end of the year, people will look back and just see that as a W. None of this other stuff will even matter.
And USC hosting Wisconsin and beats them 38-21.
Yeah, they took out their frustration from losing to Michigan.
They were down 21-10.
And their Big Ten schedule.
They were down 21-10, and they scored 28 unanswered points to win.
Now, again, I don't think USC. I think them being they're ranked 13th. I think them being ranked 13th to 17th is really about where they're at. They're not a powerhouse school this year. They're not gonna. They'll go to a good bowl game. They'll make a good showing, but I don't think that they got very much power this year. We had Louisville Notre Dame as one of the marquee games of the week. Notre Dame really had control the whole entire game.
The entire game. Notre Dame really had that game in the grasp of their hands.
Yeah, it ended up being
really since the beginning.
It was only a 7-point game, but Notre Dame Notre Dame controlled the game.
And that's what you're supposed to do.
The biggest part, yeah. We had Mississippi State, Texas. Texas again. Their offenses, of course,
a work in progress.
They had a freshman, basically a redshirt freshman in there.
Arch Manning.
This was just his second start. So their offense is not going to look fantastic, but Mississippi State's just bad. I mean,
Yeah,
let's just
Mississippi
look at
State.
State's.
We have them on our schedule
Mississippi State may be the worst team,
in the entire conference.
less lower than Vanderbilt.
They might be the worst
Yeah,
team in the
I
whole
think
conference.
they may be the worst
we
team
have them
in the
on our
whole co-
schedule though, so that game gives me more and more confidence about that one in Knoxville.
Yeah, I think that's going to be. We're actually that may be the one that Tennessee may be favored more than them than they are UTEP. To be honest, that's how bad that Mississippi State is. The game of the week,
And the game of the season,
the game of the season so far.
Georgia, Alabama. This was quite the game.
It started out to be a blowout. I mean, this game was a blowout.
Alabama came out guns a blazing, and I mean it.
I don't think Georgia knew what was
Coming.
No.
I mean, when you go down in a flash, 28-0, in a flash.
Al, how many times does Georgia's defense give up 28 points
In a half of football, they gave up 30.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
28
actually.
points was almost a quarter. I mean, it just bam, 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 and there it was. And I think
But in the second half, Georgia managed to make the adjustments.
Alabama's new head coach
Kalen DeBoer might have took
let
the.
off the pedal a little bit, which is something you cannot do in the SEC.
That's right. That's
If you have them in a chokehold, you got to keep on going. You got to keep pressing. One of the maxims at UT, you got to keep pressing. You got to keep pressing. If you're up by 28, then you should want to be up by 56.
yes.
You can't not pull up. If you let up, then what happens?
Georgia makes a huge rally, and I mean a giant rally.
Took the lead late in the fourth quarter.
But one freshman phenom, 17-year-old Ryan Williams, makes one of the plays of the season.
He has made himself a name
And
in a very short time.
I mean, geez. I mean, how many people can you say turns Georgia's secondary into a Swiss cheese all of a sudden?
Yeah, it was the Three Stooges out there covering him. They were trip over each other, running into each other. I think I heard a whoop, 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 a
He
time
might
or
have
two out there.
he might have took ballerina classes because
bad.
of how nimble he looked.
That was in one play, 75 yards. And I think Georgia led for 28 seconds or something.
And then immediately gave up a big, giant touchdown
Bam.
pass.
So-
Jalen Milroe had a Heisman game.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he actually pulled himself up to where he may be first in the Heisman.
A win
it
like
may
that.
be his Heisman to lose right now. He's got some tough games coming up though. But between him and Miami's quarterback, we'll
Cam
talk about
Ward.
it here in a little bit. He struggled a little bit.
But Carson Beck, although he had problems with turnovers in this game, he gave up a costly fumble and he gave up 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
That's one thing that Georgia needs to correct down the
Yeah,
stretch.
I don't know if he's playing good enough to take them to it. Honestly, he's not playing good enough to take them to a championship. Let's just be honest. We're not going to beat around the bush too much there. He's a great quarterback. He's actually projected to be the number 2 quarterback taken in the draft.
But I just want him to step up his game a little more, you know?
He's struggling. He's struggling a little bit right now.
And Alabama, well, I really hate to harp on this if there's any Georgia fans listening, but I really like him to clean up his turnovers and really
Yeah,
just like throw.
yeah.
If the receiver isn't there, just don't throw it there and just try to throw it away. You know.
I mean, it's hard to harp on a top 5 team in the country because
Absolutely.
even after this loss, they're still a top 5 team in the country.
yes.
But the reason they're not number 1 in the country right now
The
is
turnovers.
because of they had a few mistakes there that they do need to clean up and be a little bit better on. Ohio State went to Michigan State. Michigan State could not even. That game was uglier than that. It was 38-7. It could have been 58-7.
One point though, that freshman receiver Jeremiah Smith looks pretty good.
Ohio State's freshman receiver, Alabama's freshman receiver. Those two guys probably won't make it past their junior year. They're going to be in the NFL.
You want to book it?
Book that,
Because-
baby.
because
Those two guys are good.
Talent.
We had Illinois at number 9, Penn State.
Big game, James.
Big game, James. The line was 16. They only won by 14, so
Well,
they didn't cover the line.
Well, I'll be a Cactus in Mexico. He won a big game.
He did win a good big game, but he didn't pull the line, and it could have been a little close. Now, holding Illinois to 7, that's really impressive. So Penn State's defense was doing pretty good there.
Yep.
They were pretty good. We had South Alabama at LSU. LSU. People were thinking that game may be a little closer.
But LSU
No.
didn't make it in doubt.
42-10. Last 2 or 3 games here, we had Arizona, Utah, and Arizona. It finally caught up to them. Cam Rising, not being injured, not being in there. It finally caught up to them. Arizona.
I'm just kind of wondering when he'll come back. That's really the question for Utah
He's been
fans.
injured quite a bit over the past couple of years, so I don't know. But you can sort of tell they need him. That was a 23-10 butt whipping there. So, and then we had Oregon, UCLA. Oregon has maybe found their offensive line combination that works.
Yeah, you might
They
think.
went to UCLA, won by 21. Now I know that wasn't a big challenge. UCLA struggling this year, but still, when you go on the road with a old rival and you win by 21, that's a good win. And then we had Friday night. We had
Miami and Virginia Tech. The ending was ref ball. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was ref ball.
Virginia Tech. Honestly, in my book, won the game.
Because that was a catch.
That was a catch.
That was a catch. But Miami put up 38 points, and Cam Rising got the win. Oh, not Cam Rising, but Cam Ward. I keep getting them mixed up.
And that game might have took him out of first place
And put Milrow in
Heisman,
first.
and put Milrow in because he had a couple picks. Didn't look clean. And Virginia Tech has struggled this year. I mean, Vandy beat them. I mean, come on now, Vandy. So that's a team you should have won. You should have beat 45-17 or something. You shouldn't have been, down to a catch at the end. We're having to win the game. All right, let's go ahead and jump on into our Week 6. We'll go ahead and cover the Friday game and go ahead and get it out of the way. We got Michigan State at Oregon.
I feel
this
like
will be a slaughter.
Yeah, Oregon should win by a significantly large amount.
I think the line's 24. I actually like that. Oregon's been on fire lately. I think that's probably going to actually work.
Ole Miss, South Carolina.
Ole Miss, South Carolina.
I'm going to pick the upset. I'm going to pick South Carolina here.
You're going to pick South Carolina?
I'm going to pick the Gamecocks.
That is something. Ole Miss is only favored by 9.
I'm picking the Gamecocks. I've got it on the Gamecocks. They almost beat LSU at home. They're at home again.
They trounced Kentucky, who seems to be an okay team now. We were thinking that Kentucky was bad because South Carolina beat them. Maybe South Carolina's decent because Kentucky seems to be
getting it together.
Pretty good, Kentucky's not too bad. All right, let's talk about our game here.
Tennessee at Arkansas. Very uncommon opponent. We only play them like once every 4 years.
We don't see them that much. Now, Arkansas has won 3 out of the last 4 against Tennessee. So this is almost like a little bit of a...
Let's just say that Heupel doesn't remember those because he wasn't the coach.
Tennessee is coming off of a bye.
And they're coming on the road.
The only thing that's sort of in Arkansas's favor is they're coming off of a loss, coming at home, so the team's going to be focused. 2 of the players that's on Arkansas are transfers from Tennessee, Addison Nichols and D'Amico Slaughter. And guess what Arkansas did this week? They made those 2 guys captains this week.
Oh, boy.
So, there was a little gamesmanship going on there. Arkansas is not a bad team. They're 2 or 3 plays away from being an undefeated team. They are. They've got an explosive offense. They've got 101 plays of 10-plus yards this year, which through 5 games is pretty good. I think they're
making
30
the
or
fans
40.
sing Woo Pig Suey over there.
They've actually their offense has, of course, who have they got back as offensive coordinator?
Bobby Petrino.
Bobby Petrino's always going to have a good offense. So the only thing that's sort of against Arkansas is
Tennessee's defensive line.
Tennessee's defensive line has 12 people they can rotate. They're going to go into the 4th quarter fresh. And Arkansas does not have
the bodies up front.
Yeah. Tennessee's favored by 13 and a half. It opened at 13 and a half. It stayed pretty steady at 13 and a half the entire game. I'm taking Tennessee. Honestly, I think Tennessee's going to win it by 20 to 25 points, to be honest. I think Arkansas can stay close. I think it'll be a 1-score game at halftime. But by the time you get to the 4th quarter,
I feel like
it'll be double digits. By the time you get to the end of the game, it's going to be...
The offense will find its flow by then for Tennessee.
I think Tennessee gets close to 40, and I think Arkansas is stuck less than 20, to be honest. I don't think. Again, Arkansas really likes to run, and Tennessee's strength is the run. Tennessee is not
Mobile quarterback though.
They do have a mobile quarterback, but Tennessee is not good. Here we go. Here's Tennessee's ranking through 4 games. This is not just SEC. This is FBS. Tennessee's defense, number 1 rated in the entire country. Number 1 on first downs. Number 2 rush defense in the entire country. Number 2 on third down defense in the entire country. Number 4 on fumble recoveries. Number 5 on scoring. Number 8 in red zone. Number 11 in pass defense. Tennessee has the overall number 1 rating in the country because of their front line and their depth, plus the transfers that they've got in that are playing in their backfield are better than we hoped they would be. They have come in and are playing fantastic. I think we have. What was our bold prediction at the first of the year?
10-2.
And Tennessee would have the number 1 rush defense in the SEC, probably the number 1 overall defense in the SEC. We have the number 1 overall defense in the country. And let's jump over to the offense. We have the number 2 scoring offense, the number 4 total offense, number 6 rough offense, number 9 on first down, number 15 on passing efficiency.
Pretty
good.
good.
We're on defense and we're on offense, and our offense is terrific. Here we go right here. Right in there. Our rushing offense is number 1 in the SEC with 290 per game. Our scoring offense, we're still averaging 54 points per game, which is number 1 in the offense. We have the number 1 scoring offense in the country and the number 1 total defense in the country. Again, I'm not saying bad against Arkansas. I think Arkansas is a pretty good team. They're not a bad team. I think they'll probably end up making a bowl game this year. But I just don't think they have the depth to hang with Tennessee for 4 quarters. I think the talent card, Tennessee's going to pull out the talent card.
I can't believe we have that thing in our possession.
We have a talent card. How about that? Tennessee normally doesn't have that talent card. When you can pull out the talent card halfway through the third quarter
and annoy
go,
the other fan.
and lay down that second line of defense, that second line of offense, to come off the ball, fresh as a daisy.
That annoys everybody, the opposing fan bases.
Yeah. Nico is 69.3% completion this year. We have a 70% completion passer this year, and we haven't had to lean on him. He's 7 TDs to only 2 interceptions, and the 2 interceptions were in one game when he was honestly pressing a little bit. He's had 25 rushes for 117 yards, and he hasn't even rushed that much yet. I think Tennessee's offense hasn't got to where it can actually be this year. Tennessee's defensive line, this is where we are allowing 50.75 yards rushing per game. The entire game. You want to know how much rushes per the average per yards rush we're allowing? 1.57 yards per rush. I told you our rush defense, man. When we saw them in that scrimmage, man, our rush defense is the best thing in the country. It is just fantastic. So,
isn't that one of those fundamental things, though? Stop the run.
If you stop the run,
it makes them predictable.
Most teams.
It makes your offense predictable, doesn't it?
It is. You are predictable. If you're a one-trick pony, it's really easy to stop that one trick. All right, let's go ahead and jump on down. But Tennessee, I think that's one of the locks of the week, to be honest. We got UCLA at Penn State.
Big game, James.
UCLA is. You did get a Big James T-shirt.
I don't think
UCLA's bad.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
I don't think this is a big game. The line's 28, which is a little scary to me. I don't know. Penn State very rarely wins by 4 touchdowns.
One interesting detail about UCLA is that their offensive coordinator is Eric Bieniemy, formerly of the Kansas City Chiefs of the National Football League.
Yeah, which is fantastic. Eric Bieniemy is awesome.
But UCLA really needs recruits.
UCLA's, they're struggling right now. We got Missouri, Texas A&M. I'm going Texas A&M.
I'm going to pick the Aggies. They're on the road in an SEC environment.
Yep.
Texas A&M is a wild place to go play.
It is one of the hardest places to go play.
It is loud.
It's loud. They got great fans, great crowd. It'll be stacked and packed. It doesn't matter.
And their mascot Reveal is barking at you the whole time.
Yeah, so Texas A&M. I'm actually taking Texas A&M in that one too. We got Iowa, Ohio State. Iowa's good this year, but they're not good enough to play with Ohio State. Ohio State has too much talent. Line's 18.5. Honestly, I would probably take that.
Auburn and Georgia. This is a classic rivalry.
Every year.
The Deep South's oldest rivalry. The
Yep.
Deep South's most old rivalry.
Who are the only two teams that play Georgia and Alabama every single year?
Tennessee?
And
Auburn.
But most people don't think about Auburn. Auburn's one matchup every year that never changes is
Georgia.
so they play Alabama
And Georgia.
and Georgia every single year. So Auburn's not bad right now, but
They're 2-3.
But they're bad.
They're
They're
2
not
and 3.
bad, but they're bad.
How does that make any sense? Are they just average?
They're not horrible, but they're not good.
Oh, so they're middling then.
They're milling around now. They're recruiting like they're a 5-1 right now. They just flipped one of the top quarterbacks in the country from
That's one thing.
Notre Dame.
That's
to
a huge
them.
positive for Auburn fans. They're recruiting like crazy out
They
there.
may not be fantastic this year, but next year they got some pretty good.
Trying to build
they
that
got some
choo-choo
talent
train
coming in.
going.
Georgia's favored by 22.
Well,
That's
Auburn
right
and
on
Georgia,
the edge of it.
What would you pick?
I would probably take Georgia coming off of a loss at home. I think they might.
There
be
might be
trying
a lot more
They're going to
focus.
try to prove a point too, so I'll probably take Georgia there. We got Alabama at Vanderbilt. Believe it or not, Alabama is only favored over Vanderbilt, the same that Georgia's favored over Auburn. 22.
That's very odd, isn't it?
What? It's funny. Nick Saban last year said the only SEC place to go and play that's not a bad environment is Vanderbilt.
Well,
Vanderbilt's not
I
a
have-
bad team this year.
they're not terrible, no. They just got that one Georgia State thing trying to hang over them.
The line's 22.5 on
Alabama's
that.
got too much talent.
I'll probably take that line too.
I'll
to
take
be
the
honest.
Alabama Crimson
Clemson
Tide.
has jumped up into the top 15.
Welcome back. We haven't spoke to you since week 1.
Yeah, they're playing Florida State 14.5.
I'm taking the line.
I'm taking that line.
Florida
That might
State-
be one of the locks of the week too. Clemson has found their way.
They found their offense, haven't they?
And then that jumps us into the
Dumpster fire of the week. Florida State is a horrible football team. They have no offensive line.
Yeah.
They can't run the ball. Their quarterback is a turnover machine, and they don't even have him under center.
This is
week.
This is Marty the dumpster fire, and he gets labeled on whichever team each week that we think is a blazing dumpster
And
fire.
Marty was disgusted by Florida State.
Florida State, honestly, their dumpster has been on fire so much. There's only like embers left. There's just ashes.
There's
not much
coal
left.
in there. There's not even the trash that's left. That's just coal.
Yeah, it's they don't have much left.
That team is horrible if you see them live. They're lifeless.
Top 10 last year and this year, they can't find.
Anything. They can't do anything right.
They trip going off the field, off the sidelines. They trip over the sidelines.
They're the
I
Joe
don't know.
Biden tripping over the stairs going into the airport. That's what Florida State is right now as
Yeah.
a football team.
So yeah, that 14.5 points.
Remember when they
way
were number
too low for me.
Remember when they were number 10 in the country coming in?
And fussing last year because they didn't make it into the playoffs. And plus, not only did they lose a bad game, but who was injured?
Okay, I had to gather myself because of how bad they were, but DJ Uiagalelei injured his finger.
Yeah, he's going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks now. Honestly, we were actually saying, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. He's not been great this year.
I mean, 4 touchdowns to 6 interceptions.
You do get a shot to see the quarterback behind him and see if there's any kind of difference.
Yeah, Brock Glenn. According to Florida State sources, Brock Glenn, the backup, is going to start for Clemson. He's going to start against Clemson. I mean,
what you got to lose? That's the only positive for them is Clemson has never seen him play. You could do some plays that Clemson's never seen before, fool them, trick them on a play or two, do a little flea flick or something, and maybe try to pull it out. But no. We got Michigan at Washington. That is an interesting game. Washington's not bad this year.
they're a trap. That is a pure definition of a trap.
I'm taking Washington.
You want to take the Huskies?
I'm
going to
taking-
take the
I'm
Huskies.
going to take the Huskies too. Huskies are actually favored by a point and a half. I think this is a 3-point game. I think this is maybe even an overtime
That's
game.
a pretty good line, though. I'm gonna. Michigan's played close games all year. What
Yep.
does that happen? What? How many times?
You will lose one eventually. If you don't put people away,
They will put you down.
you're going to end up losing. We got USC, Minnesota.
USC.
Minnesota's a scrappy team, but they're not good.
USC will probably prove that point with
Yeah.
this victory.
It's only 8.5-point line, which makes you wonder.
Lincoln Riley, maybe
What do the people that make the lines know that we don't? Because you would think that would be
bigger.
a double-digit line. So it makes it a little scary, but still, though, I would take USC minus the 8.5. And the last one we got Miami at California.
This feels like a
10:30 at night.
How about them apples?
Hey, and now this is Miami at Cal, and it's a ACC
Conference game.
conference game. What? This realignment still makes me go, what?
I mean, there's been even more realignment. I don't know if we have enough time to discuss it here, but there's been even more
There's
going
been
on.
more of it going on, yeah. Miami's favored by
This feels like
by
a
10.
get right game for Miami.
I think they try to bounce back and prove that they should be up there. Give Cam Ward a chance to put himself back up there in the Heisman front row again. So I'm probably gonna take that one too. That's it. That is college football this week. Hope you had a little fun with us. Thanks for hanging out.
I sure did.
And be sure and share us with your friends. Spread the word a little bit. Say hi.
Please say hi. Please say hi.
And check us out next week.
See you next week.